Hello everyone! Are you ready for more mermaid mayhem? Get it? Because it's an alliteration or something? Never mind. Anyways, so today I'm making a clownfish mermaid. So while coming up with a design, I was tempted to make so many Finding Nemo references. Like make father and son mermen with a little blue tang mermaid in the background. But I chose to just stick with creating a new original character since I have some plans for all these illustrations once they're finished. And I want them to be somewhat consistent. So I did a little research into clownfish, and turns out that the other name for them is the anemone fish, since they live in a symbiotic relationship with the sea anemone. We all know this from Finding Nemo, right? Because he lives in an anemone. So naturally, I knew I wanted the background to feature an anemone. I think from what I remember reading, clownfish, like many small fish that live in the big blue, are kind of shy and prefer to stay relatively hidden in their stingy fortresses. So I thought I should have her hiding behind her tail or behind the anemone. I didn't really like the look of this because it cuts out most of the design elements and you can't see most of her face. So I decided instead to have her pushing the anemone aside to peek out and see if there's anyone or anything out there that poses a threat. So once I've got my idea and I'm happy with it, I'm going to turn over to my watercolor paper and begin sketching with my Prismacolor very thin colored pencil. I block in everything with shapes and then I start refining details. I keep the pressure pretty light for the most part, so if I do need to redraw anything, it won't be too difficult to erase. Like the hand. Hands can be tricky to draw, and I found her right hand to be quite challenging. I think I redrew it about half a dozen times just to make sure it was right. I normally pose my own hand to reference, but this wasn't really any angle that I could easily see on me, so I had to really think of the shapes of the hand to get it right. Once I'm happy with the sketch, it's time for the line art. I use a size 03 micron fine liner. I think I like this size the best for this particular style because it doesn't look too heavy in comparison to the watercolor, but it gives it enough of an outline to feel a little cartoonish, which I'm partial to. If I was going for more realism, I would probably opt for an 01 or an 005. If you wanted to have your characters stand out even more from the background, you could go over just the silhouette with a larger size like an 05 or 08. Though I tend to only use that when the background is more abstract or in a geometrical shape that the character is in front of. After I'm done with the outlines, I'm going to go in with my Sakura Koi watercolors. I looked up some pictures of sea anemones and most were pink or peach color, so I started out with this peachy color and immediately regretted it. The anemone looked like giant worms, and this wasn't a sci-fi illustration, so I couldn't have that. So I then tried adding a little more red to it, and that was helping a little bit. But it wasn't until I tried the two-tone red and yellow that it really came together. Sometimes that's how it goes with color schemes. You have to chuck your preconceived ideas out the window and fly by the seat of your pants. I thought that the combination would clash with the orange of the clownfish, but I think adding just a little bit of contrasting blue to the background helped keep it from looking like a neon mess. I also initially thought about making the little fish around her blue, just to add some cool contrasting color. But she needs little clownfish buddies, and besides, other fish would probably die in this giant stinging death trap that only anemone fish can live in. Actually, I take that back. There are a few other species of fish that can live in anemones. A few types of cardinal fish and gobies can survive. The theories are that they either have a certain type of mucus that coats their bodies to keep the anemone from recognizing them as a food source, or they are somehow immune to the toxins of the anemone. But scientists can't really agree on which, so they don't exactly know. I like to think their ancient ancestors signed a peace treaty. And some of you may be asking, who's this little adorable fellow on my water brush? Well, he's an impulse buy I made at the grocery store because I am a child and I cannot be trusted to make only adult decisions on my shopping trips. I'm really not sure if I'm ever going to consider myself an adult though. I can just see it. I'm going to be 60 years old, still watching kids' cartoons, and getting super excited when I find a prize in my cereal box. I was really sad when I got too old for kids' meals at fast food joints. Anyways, where was I? Ah yes, so now I'm almost finished. All I have to do is add the shading and details. The shading really adds a lot to the finished piece, otherwise it would look way too flat and kind of unfinished. The best way to add shading is to imagine a single light source. Like in some introductory art classes or art books, where they would have you draw a little sun in the top corner of your paper to remind you where to put your highlights and shadows. Only, I always skipped over those pages and went straight to what I wanted to learn how to draw. So if I get it wrong, we all know why. I added a more dramatic, clean line shading to the mermaid to make her stand out from the background, and a softer shading to the anemone to emphasize a kind of rounder and squishy look. Then I go back with the same micron fine liner to add any lines and details I couldn't get with the water brush. Well, I think that about does it for this mermaid. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was fun and informative. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. If you want to keep up to date on the mermaids and can't wait till the end of the month for a sketchbook tour, be sure to follow me on Facebook or Instagram where I post daily. The links are in the description. Also, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I upload once a week. I hope you have a great day. Bye.